Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Find a Way podcast with Dusty. Hopefully you're doing well on your journey. This is I Want to Run Part 5. Part 5. We've gone over quite a bit in the first 4 parts, and this particular one has to do with some recent news that just got released. If you are someone that listens to this and is already a very good runner, I know that this episode is on my personal podcast page, but also the 6 a.m. Run podcast page. And with it on that page, there may be some runners that have qualified for the Boston Marathon. There are particular times that you need to meet in order to qualify for the Boston Marathon, but that doesn't guarantee that you're going to get in. If you didn't know already, just recently, the Boston Marathon had over 36,000, I believe, qualified participants, or it may even be more than that. But what ended up happening is that there is only a certain amount of individuals that can actually be let into the Boston Marathon. Like it's a limited quantity of individuals that can meet the threshold. So what happens is you have a qualified time. And then after that qualified time, if there is more individuals across the country that have qualified for that time, and it's more than what the course can take as far as its participation limit, then what they'll do is they'll say, hey, you need to be faster by X amount of minutes or X amount of seconds. And so this year, they actually took off 6 minutes and 51 seconds. So not only did you have to qualify, but you had to be 6 minutes and 51 seconds faster than the qualifying time. And if you, and I saw many videos on this, if you are within that 6 minute and 51 seconds, then you are not participating in this year's Boston Marathon. I was watching a video of someone that was 1 second away from qualifying for the Boston Marathon. It is a coveted, qualified race, and they were 1 second away. Now, I think this brings us into I Want to Run Part 5, because I Want to Run Part 5 is going to be about managing expectations and preparing yourself for the ups and downs of running. There are going to be very good days, and there are going to be very not so good days. I remember in my marathon training last year, I had a long run. It was 18 miles, and the forecast had nothing in the forecast, absolutely nothing. I was 6 miles into my run, 6 miles away from the house, and a torrential downpour, meaning within, I would say, a 20-minute time period, the area that I run flooded. I'm splashing, I'm flooding based on where I'm running. There's waterfalls in places that there's never waterfalls. There's lightning. It's where I need to get picked up by my wife in the middle of this storm, and she actually ends up having to pick me up. I go back to the garage and end up finishing my 18 miles on the treadmill. Not ideal, not what I wanted, not what I prepared for, but it was part of the down. Part of the up was finishing 21 miles 2 weeks before, or in my peak week, finishing 21 miles long run in Atlanta. And mind you, I'm from Tennessee, a completely different state. I found this trail that is one way, 10.5 miles, and I said, hey, let me just go there and back. And in a completely different state, completely different environment, starting at 5 a.m., and I am on a different time zone than where I went. So where I went was even darker, meaning for the first 4 miles, pitch black. Nothing in front of me besides my phone flashlight. What an adventure. What an absolute adventure that was. And I vivid, joyful memories about just being able to get through that. It was a lot of fun. So the ups, but also the downs come, and managing expectations. And so in regards to the Boston qualifier, if you're listening to this and you qualified for the Boston Marathon, but then now you're in a situation where you didn't get in even though you qualified, it doesn't mean that the journey is done. It just means that this is another notch on your belt and you need to keep tightening. I qualified. No one can take that away from you, that you qualified for the Boston Marathon. Well, speaking to you that got your running goal, hey, you wanted to finish a marathon. No one can stop that. You wanted to finish a half marathon, a 10K, a 5K. No one can take that from you. Maybe you didn't get it in the time that you were hoping for, but you've got to take the wins. And this is where, like, manage expectations is huge. Take the wins where you can get it, especially with running. Because you can have someone like, I think it's Ingrid Jacobson, and I'm butchering this name, I know, but just the all-around leader in I think it's the 15,000 meter in the Olympics, the overall just leader. I mean, just everyone knows him for being the top. And yet at the Paris Olympics, ends up getting second or third. Like, you can have your ups, you can have your downs. In fact, this Jacobson, the week after Paris, they had another championship, and he threw everybody for a loop. Nobody even got close to what he was doing. Yet at the Paris Olympics, at the coveted Olympics every 4 years, it didn't work out. You've got to take the wins where you can get them, especially in your running journey. Set yourself a time goal, but also set yourself a notch goal. What I mean by notch is, I want to do this, I'd like to do it in this. I'd like to do this, I'd like to do it in this. I'd like to do a 5K, I'd like to do a 5K in 45 minutes. I'd like to do 3 miles today, I'd like to do it in this amount of time. Or, I mean, heart rate wise, I'd like to do 2 miles today, I'd like to do 2 miles in zone 2. In zone 3, wherever you're, like you have a goal and then another goal. You've got to manage expectations, that sometimes everything that you're hoping for out of your running journey, out of your running events, your running goals, isn't going to happen, and that's okay. Managing expectations. The Boston Qualifier, you qualified. The goal, I want to qualify. You did it. Okay, we'll move on from there. I want to run the Boston Marathon. For some of you, that isn't possible. That's okay. Maybe some of you, it's even a tier below that. I want to qualify for the Boston Marathon. Well, maybe you didn't qualify for the Boston Marathon, but you got a little bit faster. Or what if you completely hit the wall? I wanted to qualify for the Boston Marathon, but I had to stop at mile 20. I bet you're not going to stop at mile 20 again. I bet you're going to learn from this experience and grow and be better. Everything has some sort of lesson in it, some sort of notch of getting better. And that's what I Want to Run Part 5 is all about. Take the wins where you can get them. Take whatever you can get and use it. Don't let the event, don't let what happened use you. Use it. Use it to push forward. Use it to get better. Use it to be better. I know this is a shorter episode today, only about 8 minutes, but I think this is direct and to the point. 8 minutes is enough to say, hey, whatever you're looking to do in your running journey, take the wins where you can get them and push forward. Take the wins and push forward.